Every Wednesday for the last 33 years, there is only one place you would find Trevor Hess, Australia's second largest sale yard. Today there's over 5,000 head of cattle yarded in Dalby, about 200 kilometres west of Brisbane. While the auctioneers are selling the cattle, it's up to 77-year-old Trevor to record what each pen sells for. He works for Meat and Livestock Australia, the industry marketing and research body which is funded by producer levies, the Australian government and industry partners.
The top cow price for the day at 312 cents, they were cows from Blackall.
His job requires him to keep a close eye on prices, which comes in handy on a day like today when he's selling his own cattle.
I was guesstimating about 370, 375. 390.2.
It can take seconds for an auctioneer to sell a pen. The price is important, but also what sort of cattle are being sold. That's crucial for producers. Trevor has to assess them all to report on them, and there's often not a lot of time.
Well, the first thing when you arrive at a pen is to ascertain what category you're going to make them, and we've got various numbers for the different categories. 3 is yearling steers, 4 is yearling heifers, and 5 is grown steers, 6 is grown heifers, and 7 is manufacturing bullocks, and 8 is cows, and 9 is bulls. It's not too hard to sort the bulls out from the cows, you can nearly sort that out, but when we get into the category 5 and 6, we also got to take teeth into consideration, whether you make them yearlings, yearling steers or heifers, or category 5 or 6, and trying to assess how many teeth they got is just a little bit difficult at times.
Even after all this time, he's not on autopilot, but he has an amazing eye for cattle. Just by looking at an animal for a second or so, he can guess how much they weigh.
Where cattle come from can vary in weight. However, even after 33 years, I'm still cross-checking my weights with the actual weights. At least every sale, I will check 20 to 30 pens to see how far out I was. The sale yard scales are checked on a regular basis. I have to check the scales inside my head on a regular basis, and I do that by cross-checking what they actually weigh.
Prices are important for buyers and sellers on the day, but the information is valuable beyond the sale yards. It's used by graziers to decide when they should buy and sell their cattle. Spotting a trend can make a difference.
I believe that the auction system sets the price. That's fairly controversial. A lot of people will disagree with that. Some meatworks claim that they pay as much as they possibly can to the producer, and the auction system's got nothing to do with it, but I'll let you make your own decision on that. Whenever the direct-to-works or direct-to-feedlot price is above or below the sale yard price, it's never just too many days when it's adjusted. If it's below the sale yard price, it soon gets adjusted to the sale yard price, and vice versa. If direct is above the sale yards, they'll soon bring their price back in line.
After all the information is collected, Trevor has to share it, which he does on radio and online. Each sale day, he records an interim report on the Dalby cattle market for the ABC Radio's Country Hour program, which is broadcast at lunchtime. Then, later that night, he files a full report, which is played on ABC radio stations the next morning, where the cattle industry matters.
The number of cattle penned at Dalby today increased by 1,330 head to 5,251 following the rain-reduced yarding the previous week. Export buyer attendance was good, with strong support from southern operators, plus a return of one major Queensland processor.
Because these reports are shared on the radio, Trevor's a bit of a rural celebrity in Queensland. Dalby livestock agent Terry Ryan believes the cattle industry is indebted to him.
Trevor Hess is certainly a household name in the rural industry. Every Thursday morning, the rural people have the wireless on waiting for Trevor Hess's report. He's a very, very important part of the business. Number one, because of his accuracy in quoting a market, and he can relate the quote very easily to the rural people on the land. If the sale was going to start at 7:30 and Trevor's not here, we'd probably hold up and say, "Where's Trevor? Why isn't he here?"
Trevor started reporting on cattle sales in the 1990s. Times were tough and it was a way to earn some off-farm income.
In the early 90s, we seemed to be having dry spells followed by a drought back into a dry spell, followed by a few hours of good season. And because of our operation is relatively small, this was a bit hard and I needed some off-farm income. And I wanted to do something that I liked. And I've always had a liking for the cattle sale yards, the auction system. Actually, in the very early days prior to me, it was all done on a clipboard. And then we moved into DCDs, data collecting devices, and now it's all done on an iPad. But with the actual reporting, in the early days we just done weight and fat score and price and whether they were going to slaughter, restock or feed, and the number of cattle in the pen. Now we do muscle score and dressing percentage as well. When I first went to Sydney to learn to operate the laptop, I really thought if I pressed the wrong button that Sydney Harbour Bridge would fall down.
While the job has taken Trevor all around the country, it's the Dalby cattle sale that's Trevor's main stomping ground. Queensland has more than 40% of Australia's cattle herd, which is why it has the two biggest sale yards in the country. Roma is the biggest, Dalby is the second biggest.
Around about 4,000, 4,200 is an average yarding for Dalby. I believe that we got pretty close to 10,000 on one occasion, and that tried the system out. So between 9 and 10,000 has been about the top of it.
Understanding the cattle market isn't just a job for Trevor. Beef is in his blood. He has spent his whole life on this cattle property at the foothills of the Bunya Mountains, a place his family has called home for more than 100 years.
Well, originally it was a dairy farm, and then after my father passed away, he had planned to do it, to go from dairying into beef cattle. And so my mother and I continued on with that idea and went into beef cattle.
With a view like this, it's easy to see why Trevor has stayed here his entire life.
Well, my grandfather bought this in 1921, and the family have been here ever since. That's just on over 103 years ago.
The Hess family started their venture into beef with Hereford cattle, then Limousin cattle, but now you'll find blonde Aquitaines on the family property, a move made by the next generation, Trevor's son, Wayne.
Different ones say to me, "You think they're the best?" And I say, well, they're the best for our operation. I'll cover it that way by saying they're the best for our operation.
Like many, Trevor has had to balance work and life.
There often gets to be a bit of a struggle, not so much in later years as Wayne's taking over more of the property, but I was 3 days a week in the sale yards and 4 days a week at home, and I thought it was a pretty good balance because by Wednesday afternoon I just about had enough of agents and people in general, and it was good Thursday morning to climb up into the cab of the tractor and turn my phone off and turn the radio up. But however, by Sunday afternoon, with broken machinery and busted water pipes, geez, it was good to go back into the sale yards first thing Monday morning.
Having had a front row seat to the industry for 30 years, Trevor has seen the highs and the lows of the Australian cattle market. As a beef producer himself, the numbers have always meant more to him.
I've been told from people that they reckon they knew what the market's going to be by the tone of my voice when I'm going to report it down, and vice versa. When the market's up, they can pick it up in my voice before I even say it that the market's improved. So it does hit home a little bit when the market's down because it is greatly affecting me.
How much longer do you think you'll keep market reporting?
Well, we're starting to draw to the end of the show. It can't go on forever. But while I still continue to enjoy it and it's still able to get out and they'll have me, I'll give it a bit of a nudge for a little bit longer, yeah, but not too much longer.
But not until he's seen cattle prices back over a certain dollar value.
Oh, yes. I know. I'm pretty happy that we'll see more than $6 a kilo before I retire.